Okay, so horror marketing. Hi, folks. I am Anastasia Garcia. I have over 15 years of experience in marketing. And of course, like I can run a keynote. I've got over 15 years of experience in marketing and advertising. I've worked at big major companies like Meta, Instagram, Facebook, Google. Now I work at Pinterest, and I'd love to share all of this great marketing experience that I have with you. So that way you can hopefully get yourself and your books out there to finding the right audience. So first we'll talk through a couple of things. Marketing, you, the author. Social media. I know there's been like 1,000 questions on what is social media? How do I invest? What should I be doing? So I just want to do a double click on social media for us today. Marketing your book. So things that you should consider when you start building a marketing plan, which is a very daunting thing if you are not a marketer. And then fourth, building community, which you all are already ahead of by being here today with Horror Writer Association. So marketing is the art of grabbing attention, which is where this visual comes from. Okay, so let's talk about marketing the author first. So you might say, why do I have to market myself? I just want to live in a dungeon and write great books and people will buy them. Why do I have to invest in myself at all? Well, in business, people like working with people they know, they trust, and let's be honest, who they actually like. So to do that, we want to make sure that we're marketing you, the author, and we want to make sure that you appear knowledgeable, skilled, professional, and personable at all times. So we do that in a couple of ways. There are a couple of checkpoints that you can check off along the way. So first, let's start with the author biography. I'm going to dive in pretty heavy into this, and I will go rapid fire through here. But if at any point along the way you want to ask me questions, I will, Carol, please stop me along the way. I can't quite see the chat like I used to, but stop me along the way if there are questions that pop up. So first, let's dive into the author biography. This is an opportunity for you to market yourself in your own words. And so it's the first touch point. We think about this kind of secondhand, like, all right, I just wrote a little something. It's on the back flap of a book, but you should really invest in making this work harder for you. This is an example from Nathan Ballingrud, who writes, of course, some amazing works that have made their way to movies. And here, I'm not going to read through this in detail, but you can see he's covered off all the high points. He's got his name, his location, where it's from. His work is very much inspired by the South and so the Southern Gothic aesthetic. So it was important to him to mention he spent most of his life in the South. He works at University of North Carolina. He used to, and New Orleans. He used to do a bunch of things around the New Orleans area, and you can feel that in his writing. So bring some of what makes you a good writer into this biography as well. We want to feel a little sample of what you do. Add some professional writing history, some personal tidbits. He wrote, which I love, he's been a cook on oil rigs and barges, a waiter and a bartender in New Orleans. And to me, that says I'm gonna feel that flavor in what he writes. Have fun with it professionally. Sometimes people get a little wild and crazy with their biographies. I say think about this as your resume, keep it tight, keep it succinct, have a little fun with it. Make sure you're writing your writing work, your most recent and or popular first. If you've written a bestseller, put that front, even if it was 20 years ago, best-selling, blah, 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 here, or your most recent. Current, past, and upcoming work. Don't forget to shout out the good stuff that you did in the past and the stuff that's coming up next. You should always be promoting that next big thing. Write about the work that you're most proud of. You can see he pulled a little snippet out of his novella that made it into a movie, as well as his collection, North American Lake Monsters, that was adapted into a Hulu and original series. So he pulled out some good stuff that he really liked and wanted to spotlight. And make sure you throw in your accolades, your awards, your participation, your organizations, and also where to find you. He put literally his location, but you should also be putting in your social media down here. And I recommend that you always have 4 versions of this biography. You don't just write it one time, you write it once and then you edit it until you have 4 versions. One of them long, 500 words. This lives on your website. This is where if somebody wants to sit in there and like get to know you, they're going to read it. That's going to be one over there in 500 words. 150 words. This is probably the one you're going to use the most. You use it when you pitch, you use it when you submit stuff for panels, you use it on the back cover of a book, let's say. You want a short one. That's 25 words. So that's just the highlights. This you're going to put in your social media bios. This you're going to, when somebody introduces you at an event, they're going to read 25 words. They're not going to read your whole biography. So make that super short. And then micro. Try as best as you can to get your skills into 5 words. It'd be nice to know. It's a great skill set to do. So an activity I recommend for when you leave this session today, draft your author bio in long, medium, short links and try to make it micro. Author portrait. Okay. So a lot of us are folks that like to live in the dark, I'm sure, and nobody sees my face. And I have an author portrait from 10 years ago that I like to use, etc. But I do feel like you have to invest in this as a first moment meeting when you're meeting with folks. Why? Not only is it helpful to like, if I see you across the internet in different places, I have one photo that I know it's you. It also helps when you do events. Like if somebody booked me in an event and has never seen my face, when they see my author portrait, they can go, oh, I know who she is. So if I happen to walk up mysteriously, they'll be like, that looks like Anastasia Garcia. I think she's our author. Sometimes people, you want to make sure that you're starting with your best foot forward. When you're taking your picture, I highly recommend a professional photographer actually doing this for you. But if you look at these pictures from Stephen King in the 70s, this is actually shot with a camera that has less technology than the phone in your pocket right now. So consider your phone just as advanced and can take a nice, beautiful, clean shot, just like any of these. You just need the right elements to make it nice. Always use bright lighting. Right now, I actually have a secondary lamp right here to like add glow so that it's fully illuminating my face. There's no shadows. There's nothing creepy and dark. Although stylistically, you can try that. High quality, no selfies. We don't want the angled up. We don't want the angled down. We don't want your face to be half in and out. Wide crop. Why do I say that? Because if I'm cropping a square image from each of these, I don't want anything to be cut off. If you
Wait,
cut
what do you mean by wide crop? I'm looking at it here. The samples you've used are like portrait size.
generally portrait, yeah. Too wide. I mean, if you can wide angle, all my portraits have like an extra all the way around. I always give people
Okay,
horizontal and virtual, just in case they're maybe they're putting me in virtual, maybe they're putting me in a circle, maybe they're putting me in a square. You want to be able to give plenty of
right.
room
That gives
around your
you room.
face
Okay,
so that you can crop it. Yes, exactly.
thank you.
And then ensure that it's high quality. Even you can see some of these like low res images that I pulled off the internet are still kind of grainy. What you want to make sure is you always have the higher res images ready to go. So an activity I recommend is using the phone, only your phone. Take a fresh new author portrait. Consider a clean background, not like this that I have back here, a nice clean background. This is why Instagram users used to love just like a nice, beautiful pink wall because it was just perfect for selfies. No clutter. Make sure you find something with a nice little texture to the back of it, like Stephen King has here. And then make sure your clothing is always different from the background. You don't want to blend in. And then author website. So I consider an extension of your resume to be your author website. Why do you need a website? Why do you need to invest in one? They're expensive. They take a lot of time. I have to build one. You want someone to be able to, as soon as you book a podcast, an event, an author, you sell your book to an agent, the first thing they're going to do is Google you. And you want to make sure that something about you pops up at the top. Usually when you have a website, the SEO works hard for you and your name is all over the place. And Google likes to pull from a great, beautiful website that you've designed to put your stuff at the top. Social media also functions as this as well. But you want to make sure that there's a landing page for somebody to find you and your work and your biography and a little bit more about you so that you are a real person, a real professional out in the world. If you're considering building your own website, here's a list of pages that you can consider including: a homepage with your latest work, an about page to store that 500-word biography, books, short stories, any links to anything that you might have out in the world that folks can read, go click off to and read, press, anything that you might, let's say you were featured, let's say you won an award, make sure to include all of that there. And then also open it up for events and then any contact information so that folks can get to you.
Do you mind if we ask a question while you're right here on the website?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. We have one from Jonathan in the chat. He's saying, regarding an author website, what's your take on multidisciplinary websites? Is that too much? He says, I can't afford multiple websites, so was thinking of splintering on different platforms for my professional work and video versus his writing. Is it a problem being all in one website with different sections?
I think it is. I'm actually finding the same. I'm in the same mode myself. I have a website for myself, which used to be all of my writing. And now I have a website that's like really well designed for my book series. And I'm finding that they're starting to do the same thing and they're kind of competing. I don't know which one to spotlight where. And sometimes I'm directing traffic here and directing traffic there. I have to remember to connect the pages and update both of them. It becomes a little fractured. Your strategy becomes a little fractured and you have to think about it in different ways. So for simplicity's sake, I recommend you keep it all on one page. This is your name. And then perhaps you have tabs that feature your different types of work. Maybe they can be designed differently. Like if you land on, let's say, most tabs can look the same, and then they land on, let's say, your film page, and that can have a different look and feel, and it can feel slightly different, like a website within a website. So try maybe that, or simplify as best you can to keep it on one and show all the many facets of yourself. I've also seen someone who a landing page lands and it says author, film, and it allows you to kind of like move to each, and you can kind of build almost two separate, but they're all under one unified website and one unified URL.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Mhm.
That makes sense. Yeah. And then if they're intrigued by one thing, they find out about you on that part of your website, they can explore the other without having to go too far.
Yeah. And then creating like one biography that has both things, elements in it too, is neat. Okay, so let's pop over to social media. So I mentioned a website, it's heavy, it takes a lot of work. Social media is free, and I consider it an extension of your professional self. It can be an extension of your website. I think I've worked in social media for quite a long time. I've had social media for quite a long time as well. I think I originally had an original Facebook account, an original Instagram, Twitter account, etc. And then have seen them change and grow over time. And what I believe is that social media is a great place to market yourself as a professional, your book, and most importantly to me, build community. Because that's what you miss when you essentially work in a silo and act all on your own. So if we're looking at social media, here's just kind of a quick snapshot, bird's eye view of all of the big players this year. And I organized them from oldest to newest, all the way on the right. And the reason why I did that is because one of the things that I'm going to mention is the biggest touch point of social media is invest in one that you feel like you will spend the most time in. You don't need to be across all of them. Spend time on, let's say, 1, 2, or 3 that you feel make the biggest impact for you and are more aligned with what you like to do and what you feel comfortable posting about most frequently. We're not all jumping on the latest fashions, trying the latest internet craze, or exercise craze. So you might see new ones pop up, Blue Sky, TikTok, Threads, and you might go, it's just too much. I don't want to learn it. Or I guess I'll be here, but I really don't know. I don't use it much. So really focus on the ones that you really enjoy and like.
Can I add something to what you have here, only because it's just come to light? I'm sorry, Blue Sky. I had mentioned in our private group that if you have a website, you should use your website address as your address on Blue Sky versus at Blue Sky, whatever, because actually they use that to verify who you are. But in addition to that, Blue Sky is about to start adding verified blue check marks.
Okay.
For those. And they will only do it. It's not something you can apply for. They will only do it if they can verify who you are and that you really are, like you have a presence somewhere. And for writers, especially, and authors, if you don't have a link to your Blue Sky, if it's just Blue Sky dot whatever, you're not going to get verified. And they're doing this in sections. So my recommendation is if you haven't done it yet, but you have a website, even if you haven't done much with the website, use it for your address, because when they go to verify you, you want that little blue check mark where it used to mean something. Now it's going to mean something again here. So I highly recommend you do this.
Yeah, great tip.
Anastasia, I have a question also. Are you going to talk about Linktree, or is that a topic for another time, life, year?
No, that's a good call. I'm not going to include it in this presentation, but yeah, let's talk about it and see like how I would love to know how you use it and if there's like a strategy. So when considering which platform is most important to you, one step, and there's many steps, and I could go super deep on social media strategy. One of the many steps is considering who your audience is and where they are. This is another reason why maybe not investing in the latest platform is okay, because as much as they are making a lot of noise, are they actually making the market penetration that you need to actually reach people that care? So for example, if you're looking at Threads all the way on the right over there, the way this chart reads is it looks at each audience. So we have all social media users in that top bar up top. So if you're looking at that top bar across, that's all social media users everywhere. And what percentage of all people have an account on each of these channels? So if you see all the way on the left, top left there, 84% of everyone has an Instagram account. That's huge. All the way on the right top, you'll see that only 15% of social media users have a Threads account. So as you can see that, like, where should I be investing? I should probably be investing where most social media users are if I want to reach more people. However, I will say, if you feel like a very niche audience exists on a platform that's very specific to you, try and invest there if you think that makes sense. If you're looking at where things are darker, that's more users for that age range. So that second row there, that's Gen Z. So where do you think Gen Z is going to be? Most of them have 91%. That's huge market, like penetration saturation, have an Instagram account. 67% of them have a Facebook account, but 86% of them have a TikTok account. So if you're trying to reach Gen Z, like, these are kind of the 4 places you should be, including YouTube. And then if you look where, like, Gen X, baby boomers towards the bottom, they're more market saturated in Facebook. So that's where they're going to be. So consider this chart. This chart was just like a great, for me, I like eyeball view of like where people are and where I should potentially be investing time and energy. And then you can see like Twitter, which is nuts to me. X used to be a highly saturated place as well, but it looks like over the last year, since things have slightly changed, people are moving off towards things like Blue Sky and elsewhere. Okay, so let me answer some common social media questions I get a lot. Do I have to use social media? Because, like, why? I have so many things in the day. Do I really have to invest in this? Is this important to me? No, you don't. You can say, look, hit me up on my website using my email. I only talk to professionals, and I'll meet you in person. That can be your strategy. That can be an honest way that you want to approach things. But if you do want to use this social media, by not using it, you are kind of removing yourself from these internet communal spaces. It requires a lot of work to get people in person and talking and seeing and sharing your book. But in internet spaces, you can reach a lot of people all at once. So you lose the opportunity for reach, which is reaching a lot of people, and community building, which I think is key. Do I have to use every platform? We kind of touched on this. No, each platform is a tool in your toolbox to be used for different things. It's best to know the benefit of each platform, test it out, see how it works, see if it's like using the platforms you like, and use the one that you're most comfortable using frequently. The reason I say that is because you have to, if you're going to use social media, you have to use it regularly. So with that, how often should I post / engage? Weekly. And I'm honest when I say this, it has to be weekly. If you're not posting things weekly, essentially these algorithms and apps decide this is a lighter user. I'm not going to surface their content up as much as I want. I want to surface the content up from people who are posting all the time. For better or for worse, as we've seen, like sometimes it's low quality content, but it gets them a lot of views and shares. It's better if you can use it daily for exactly that reason I mentioned. The more often you use it, whether it's engaging, like liking, sharing, commenting, posting, that also helps bump you up. It tells all of these platforms that you're an active user. You're going to be here doing more. You're more valuable to these platforms if you are more active. It's a dark world we live in. Do I have to have a huge following? I mean, if you want a book deal based on your following, yeah, have 50,000 followers on a platform. Somebody will give you a book deal, sure. But I don't think you do. Think of social media as an extension of your professional persona. Sure, some business savvy dude has 500 contacts that they know personally in their Rolodex. But are they high quality content? Are they engaging with all of those 500 people every day? Do they see them once a year? How does it work? So I think it's quality over quantity here. Think of it as an extension of your personal self. Then you want it to be genuine. You want it to be a place that you frequent regularly. Should I have separate accounts, professional and personal? This is a personal choice. Me personally, I like to keep things completely separate. It just helps when I'm plugged into fun horror writing community work. And then over here, when I'm posting pictures about my cats, I like them to be slightly separate. But some professionals like to kind of intermingle. That's for better or for worse. Some folks are very comfortable expressing their personal opinions in professional spaces. You just have to consider the implication of that, whether someone might disagree with you. Maybe you alienate an audience. I'm looking at J.K. Rowling. Maybe all of a sudden something you said online alienated a huge following of yours. Not saying that that's negative. It could be a positive. Maybe you really do want to express your personal opinions in a space and find audiences that really connect with that. It's totally up to you. And then blogging. Folks have asked me about blogging. Unfortunately, in the past, blogging used to be a great social media. Comments were very often frequent. People used to follow blogs and actually see it on their RSS feeds. Nowadays, blogging is one of the few platforms that does not have an easy way to reach people. If you invest in a blog, which means typing out blog posts, long form content, usually with visuals, you also have to continue to invest in attracting people to the blog. So it's two steps now. Whereas on social media, anyone can click follow. Now I would have to find your blog, you would have to attract me to it, and then I would have to find a way to come back to it frequently. It's not as easy to like have your blog appear in my feeds on the regular. Does that help? How does it work? I'll just touch on this so that you understand how it makes money and how like some of the stuff you see exists out in the world. It makes money from the ads that it serves on the platform, and companies pay social media and influencers to promote their products. So companies make money when more people are spending a lot of time on it. What is the algorithm? People always say like the algorithm is helping me out or not helping me out. What does that mean? The algorithm is a self-learning curation of content on your feed. So when you engage with things on social media, it starts to change the way it appears in your feed. Oh, wow, she likes cryptid content. So it starts to put more cryptid content at the top. Oh, she really likes Stephen Graham Jones. So anytime he posts something, I'm going to put that at the top. Oh, she commented on Cynthia Palaio's Instagram account. So her stuff is going to show up first. So it helps rearrange your feed towards the content that it thinks you're going to like and engage with more often. And so what happens, that's why I mentioned you must post more frequently, because you don't want to be someone that kind of ends up down here and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky no longer surfaces it up at the top. How does someone build a huge following? There's lots and lots of ways that people do this. Some people pay for it, actually. They make engaging content. Sometimes that's divisive content. Sometimes it's predatory content. Sometimes it's low quality content, but it's engaging. Somebody stops to look at it, and that happens over time, over time, over time. And that becomes, now, as I mentioned, they serve it towards the top and more people see it. Sometimes they post en masse. I've seen creators who post daily and more often than daily. If you go to TikTok, that's where people are finding success. If I post twice a day for a full month, my follower growth skyrockets, because now my content's being served up to more people. Find a niche. I found that this, like if you're first to market, similar to Blue Sky, I found that the Blue Sky horror community was very fast to get to Blue Sky, and they were very active quickly. And I felt like it felt nice, because when you got there, you were like, wow, everybody's following each other. It really felt like kind of coming back to school and finding your table in the lunchroom. And then of course, going viral. That's just magic in a bottle. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And how do they make money on user growth and time spent within the app? They want more people to sign up for their platforms, and they want more market share. And then they also want us to spend time longer. That's also why I've made the personal choice not to be on TikTok. I think they design it to be predatory and take up a lot of eyeballs and time. That's my personal choice. It's still a valuable platform for folks to promote. Okay, let me speed along to get out of social media and into marketing your book. Okay, so you're like, I have a social media account. I have to post pictures. What do I post? Here are some very easy ideas that I hope are engaging and easy for you to do today in your office space. On the left, pictures of your book, 1,000 pictures of your book. If people see the cover, it's eye-catching, it's recognizable, put it out there in the world more often than not. An activity I will challenge you with right now after this meeting is to take 50 pictures of your book. I'm not joking. Take your book, think about 50 different creative ways you can take a picture of it, and try it out. And I'm sure now you've got 50 pictures to last you through the end of the year.
You know what I found works really well? Free-range books.
Pre-range?
Put them in the wild.
Yeah, free-range books.
Take a picture
yes.
of the thing walking along Manhattan or something.
Everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. If you go to a nice cafe and it's got a beautiful background, take a picture of your book. If you're over here and you're just reading with a cup of coffee, take a picture of your book. This is just like easy stuff to do. Just to keep things lively on your page. A picture of you with your book. People love seeing people's faces. And I know it's easy for us to be like cave monsters that never come out of the light. But do take a picture with your book. People just like to see the author with a book, and it's easy to scrape and put on something. Pictures of your workspace, events that you're at. Anytime you see people in person, take a picture of a reading that you've done or space out in the world. We can all take pictures for each other. We should all be promoting and helping each other out. Anytime you have press, a magazine, an article that has your face in it or your work, please take a picture of it and show it off. Or just books that you enjoy. If you're reading something, if you're watching something, if you're at an event that you think is cool, share that with people. People like to know where you are. Yeah. Okay. So video is the next phase. I know this, like us as an audience, like maybe we're not video savvy, maybe we're not picture savvy, maybe we're not video savvy, but if you'd like to just try your hand at video, here are some easy ways to do it. On the left, it's literally a very simple, like my picture, this is the book I'm reading today. It's like 3 seconds of video. In the middle, maybe you just video you writing for a minute, and that like gets people in your space and understanding what your work and process is like. And then on the right, it's a very simple way to just show off like a list of books and a theme. Like people really, I don't know why this content love people online, but I'm always looking for books that match other books that I'm reading. And so this is always fun to watch. Okay. Whew. That was social media. That was very quick, very fast, and I could do a whole hour on it. But let's keep moving along to marketing your book. So marketing your book, the key goal with this is positioning your book in the best light. We want to make it sellable, shoppable, buyable to find your audience and sell copies, because that's always what we're trying to do here. Okay, number one, we start very similarly to the author, marketing yourself, the author. We have to market yourself book with the synopsis. So this is super key. I actually just pulled this off of Unworthy's back cover. If anybody's reading that, it's super cool. And I just put you can read through it on your own, but here are a couple of things that I thought were really key about this. One, make sure your writing style is like really tight. Pull in the first line of your book. Make sure that it feel like throughout the story we are feeling the tone and the mood of your book. You are a writer. This is where you can shine. So it needs to have that little hook at the very beginning. Make sure you're featuring themes. Some of the themes that are featured in here is climate crisis, ideological extremism, the tidal pull of our exploitative instincts. Like, ooh, those are topics that I would love to read. Make sure it's an overview. Don't get too into the nitty gritty on, and then this person, and then they travel to Mordor, and then they throw the ring into the thing, and then they meet the elves, and then you don't need to get into all of that. You can just give a bigger overview of the book and its themes. Make sure you end with some open-ended questions. I want to know more. So here it's like, why can't she remember her life before? What is going on with the space in here? Like give us some open-ended questions that pull us into it. And then identify the central conflict. In this case, there is a convent at the edge of the world, basically, and two women grow closer, and the narrator is increasingly haunted by questions of her past. Interesting. That's the central conflict. Something's about to change. Her views are going to change. This person's going to bring something out. It's going to be fantastic. Okay, so when you start thinking about marketing, this is where we get into the hard-hitting questions. If I was your marketing manager, I would sit down with you and ask you these questions. So one, why this book? What makes your book so different or unique from everything else that's out in the market? The answer might even be, it's a run-of-the-mill zombie book. That's cool too. I like the idea. Like, we're going to find an audience who loves zombie stuff, likes the formula of zombie movies, and wants to read something just like it. Or it's like, this book is completely unique. It's in a space that you've never heard of. It's in a place you've never been. It's going to feature audiences that we don't read a lot about. That's interesting. So kind of like brainstorm and free write some of the answers to this question to help you think through what you have and what you're going to need before you get into a promotional plan. Who do you see as your audience? For me, that's very specifically kids in this small age range of tween. They're coming into friendships and coming of age and etc. There's like a very specific audience that I always write to. So think about your audience. It can't just be horror readers, horror lovers. Think about who it might be. Is it, Shirley Jackson wrote domestic horror. It's horror in the confines of a home. So people who really understand that and know that well. So think about your books in that way. Who is really going to like this? Charles, I believe you had a really great understanding of your Western audience. Who is reading Western and why? Like, that's super key. And it was actually surprising. Think about what your strengths are in book. Do you have a great social media account? Do you do events very well? Do you have personal contacts? Are you like personal friends of Stephen King? Like, think about what you have in terms of marketing strength and actually write that down. Sometimes it takes a minute to think about. You're like, I'm great at events, or I love building community. I love bringing people together. What plans do you already have? Do you have an idea for a giveaway? Did you want to take your book to a festival? What are your plans for publicity? Do you know any news, blogs, magazines? What events are you planning to attend? What events would you like to participate in? What stores and outlets do you want to make sure your book is sold? I don't know if you all know this, but there are like 15 horror bookstores around the US. They specialize in just carrying horror fiction. So maybe you're thinking Barnes & Noble will never carry my pulp, horror, gritty noir. But these bookstores might. So you might have to like dig in a little deeper and find that bookstore that you think would really represent your work best. Crafting your pitch. So you have a biography, you have your website ready to go, you have a great book coming out. Now you need to like cross that threshold into get me on a podcast, y'all. I want to talk about cool stuff. So here's how you do that. You craft a pitch. Everyone who is like pitching to newspapers, writers, etc., everyone has one. And so you need to think through what yours is. And it's more than just, hi, I wrote a book, please consider me. There's definitely elements in here that you have to consider and be smart about. This is a very, very bare bones pitch. It does not have to be lengthy. It can be short, but be specific, be direct. You want to include always your book title, genre, and link. Sometimes your book title's your genre is obvious. Ghostly Ghastly Tales is clearly going to be a book about horror, but maybe some others, The Unworthy is a little bit of a nebulous. Be specific here. I am the author of this. I would love to be a guest on your podcast. Don't wiggle around it. Don't go, I love your podcast. It's so amazing. I love all the things that you do. If maybe, super consider maybe me. You have to be specific and you have to be direct. I even bold this line when I write my pitches. I want to be a guest on your podcast. I think I would be a terrific fit for your audience for these reasons. Be specific. You have to pitch why your work at today is going to be a great hit for this podcast, this newspaper, this panel, etc. Add a short paragraph about your book. This should be very, very short. We just talked about synopsis. You should have a very short synopsis, maybe 25 words of what your book is, just so people can get a sense of it. Sometimes your titles are a little too vague, and so this will hit the highlights and give them just what they need to know and entice them to click the link to check out more about your book. Learn more about me. Visit my website. Isn't that amazing? You already have a website. You have maybe some social media accounts you want to link here. Find me here. Essentially what you're telling them is I am a professional. I've taken the time to put my work out there and package it so that it's easy for you to understand and read. Your website will do quite a lot of heavy lifting here. I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers. Your name, your social media links, and if you have it, a great book review quote down at the bottom. If Stephen King said your book was amazing, put that there. It just gives you some cash. And as just similar to your biography, write it long, medium, and short. Why? Because you're going to be pitching in many different places. You never know when you're going to be in an elevator with Stephen Graham Jones and you're like, hey, I know you're doing this thing. I have a book. It's amazing for these reasons. I would love to see you at the next thing, blah, 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 blah. So have a long one that you craft all the way on the left. That's emails. Have a medium one that's designed for, let's say, short pitching, just like you saw on that last slide. And then a super, super short one that you're going to pitch over social media. I will be honest, I think 90% of my panels and or podcast appearances have come because I DM somebody on Instagram. Genuinely, I like your podcast. I love what you do. Here's what I have. Here's my book. If you're ever interested in having me, I'm available to talk about these things. So take a minute to draft your book, your pitch. Okay, this is quite a lot, but I will just talk about what a promotion plan looks like. So as you're thinking about a book launch, I organize things into 3 ways. 6 months before, so way before. As soon as you know when your book is coming out, get ready to start planning it. 1 month before, what do I need to do leading up to this event to draw buzz, to get people excited, to put the cover literally everywhere. You know, sometimes there's a book that's coming out and you've seen the cover 100 times. That's what you want to be doing here. And then launch and beyond. So once you launch the book, it's not set it and forget it. You have to do quite a lot more. Now you have to review the book yourself. Don't forget to do this on Amazon. Do a launch event, promote yourself and your latest work in person, attend or host readings, do a lot to do things. Take a minute to read through these on your own and think about how you would promote your next book launch and actually list it out. I am so close to the end here. Where to promote your book? There's 1,000 places. And don't forget some of these places are local. Social media, obviously, website, in person. Every time you meet someone, tell them, hey, I just launched a book. It's coming out this day. It's not sales. It's not too salesy. It's not too transactional. You're just letting people know what you're doing out in the world. And sometimes that's of interest to people, especially friends, family, and you never know when you're making a connection with someone who's like, oh, I have a book that's like this, or I'm doing a panel that might be a perfect fit for. Local libraries, events, panels at events, bookstores. Like, as I mentioned, you can pitch bookstores directly and say, hi, I just launched this book. Would you be interested in having me? I actually did this with Books Are Magic in Brooklyn. I sent them a note. Hi, I wrote this book. Here was my pitch. It was about 150 words. I had a picture of my book. And I said, hi, I published this book. If you would carry some copies, that'd be great. And they said, sure, we have 4 copies in each location. We'll see how it goes. Then when I came to them with my second book, I said, hey, you guys helped me and carried some copies last year. I have a new book coming out. And they said, wow, amazing. Let's get you in for a reading in October. So if you build those relationships over time, it can help, even on a local level. Magazines, book reviewers, writing groups, podcasts, all over. So an activity here, pitch your book to one outlet. Pick one and go for it. Carol, you asked what it's like working with your publisher. Shouldn't my publisher be doing all of this? Like, why am I building a marketing plan for myself? They bought the book, right? They want to sell it, right? Well, unfortunately, publishers are getting smaller by the day, and they all don't have giant marketing teams that work on them. And even the big ones that do have marketing teams, sometimes they'll set aside budget to help you out, but sometimes they won't. Most times they won't. So on the left, I've just mentioned what a publisher should provide you. And if you don't see it, you should be writing this into your contracts. What a publisher may provide, and then what you should plan to do yourself. I won't read through all of these, but what they should provide at a bare minimum, always a high resolution image of your book cover. If they're designing it, if they're printing it, if they're publishing it, they should be able to give you that. And you should keep it somewhere in one folder on your computer. A publishing date, when is it coming? Sometimes these smaller publishers are like, I don't know, I'll publish it then, or maybe then, or maybe then. You should write this into your contract that it will be published within this window. And if 6 months goes by and they have not published it, essentially the contract is reneged, and you can now then either take the book back or resell it to a different publisher. Consider that as well. Be specific with when you want this publishing date to be. A book synopsis, perhaps they've drafted one for you on any of the marketing materials or their website. ISBN number, book sales. You should be emailing them to know how many copies of your book have sold. Sometimes you can be like, wow, 10,000 copies sold. That's a huge milestone that I would like to use to promote the book even further. A hard copy of the book for marketing. This is something that I write into my contracts, just ensuring that I always at least have one hard copy that I can use to take 50 pictures of. So make sure you're asking for that when you go in. And what they may provide, book blurbs from other authors, they may provide promotional material. Sometimes they provide book copies for events. If I'm attending an event that is sanctioned by my publisher, sometimes they will send 20 copies to that bookstore at the event to sell. Sometimes they won't. It's very dependent on them. And sometimes they'll help you out with event opportunities, but it's also been hard to actually get them to do that. And then the rest you should just plan to do yourself. Okay, last little bit, build community and consequently a supportive following. So this is, I'm not asking anyone to be fake or make fake relationships or be a politician in any way or be unnatural to yourself. This is just a moment to consider how valuable it is to meet with others who value the work that you do and can help forward your work along, support you along the way, or offer advice when you really need it. To me, this is super key. And I think people overlook this when they're trying to sell themselves in their book all the time. You forget how important it is to build that community. Use social media to do this. Follow your favorite authors, follow others in the community. I think HWA does a fantastic job of always resharing our content and showing and supporting our work out in the world. So an activity that I recommend for you all is comment something positive on 50 posts on the platform that you prefer. Get out there, start commenting, don't be a lurker, spread some positivity out in the world. Attend events in person. We've talked about this and how valuable it is. StokerCon being an opportunity to do that in person is super valuable. Why do I say that? We all want to live in our layers and our caves and we don't want to come out. This is important because I think that genuine connection really happens when you let down your walls and actually open up and be a little bit vulnerable and talking to strangers and others and kind of building that one-on-one relationship. I found it was super valuable to do that at the Long Island Horror Convention. I'm so sad I can't do it at StokerCon this year. But I highly recommend that everyone commit to attending 2 events in person in 2025. Really try if you can. And then finally, make those genuine connections. As I mentioned, do not be transactional. Don't say, hi, how are you? Buy my book. That's not natural. Don't even say, oh, hey, I'll write a book about you if you write a book about me, or you write a blurb. That's how you build false connections. That's how you damage your perception out in the world. You want to make real connections with people and honest, true connections. I'll shout out Anthony on the team here because I think he does a fantastic job of being genuine and hyping others up and supporting folks along the way. So thank you to other folks also that I've met in person. James and Carol, you do this as well. You connect people, you bring people together, and you support each other's work. I think that's super, super valuable out in a space where social media can be pretty dire and people can be kind of lonely. So an activity I recommend is sending 2 positive messages to a writer, an author, a colleague that you admire. Just let them know they did something great and just put it out there in the world. And it's a practice that will get better and easier over time. Whew, that was a lot. In closing, I hope everyone knows how to market yourself, consider social media in a smart way for you, market your book in a smart way, and build that community. That's super important. So I'll pause here if further any questions.
Anastasia, to that last comment about market yourself, which by the way, this was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I'll post that on your social media so you know. No, I'm kidding, but
Do it.
I
That
want to
counts.
add that the thing that has made it for easy for me, because I'm a I'm a strong proponent of recommending other people's work and them as a persona and everything else. But I find when it's me, I feel a bit like squeamy about it. Squeamy, is that a word?
Yeah,
I don't know.
squeamish.
It is
Squeamish,
now.
yeah. So market yourself like you would market your best friend. Pretend it's not you.
Yes.
In my case, that happens to work because I'm using a pen name. But
Yes.
for others,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, so it's not really me, but it is me. So for anyone else out there who's feeling shy and really, I hate to go out there like, knocking on doors, don't knock on doors, but pretend it's your best friend and you want to see them succeed. Because let me tell you, when I do that, it really helps me to get less self-conscious.
Yes. Love that advice.
Excellent. Okay, would you like to stop your screen share and then
Yeah.
we have a couple questions we could run through? Thank you so
Yeah.
much. This has been absolutely awesome. People have put things in the chat, and in the interest of time, I'll just run through them real quick. Christopher Ryan asked, do you have any thoughts on Substack as a medium for going out?
Yeah. If you consider that you write often and you want to put it out there and you want to do more, like, so that would be like the net new blogging platform. If you feel like you have content that you want to promote out regularly, then yes. So if you're using it regularly, if you're also creating like, let's say, email listservs to send to folks, just make sure that you're keeping up with it. It's got a great format and easy to like, and you're constantly promoting it in other channels as well.
Okay, and I'm going to actually follow on to that same question with what about newsletters? When I started doing online marketing 15 years ago, I mean, the whole point is that a newsletter is the only thing we actually own. Everything else, they can change the social media, they can change the rules. When they rewrote the algorithm for Google X years ago, everybody who used to be #1 results on, they all fell off and nobody could find them anymore because their SEO was wrong. But any thoughts about newsletters these days with all these things?
It's similar to blogging in that you have to get people to sign up for it. And so that means like, so where are you promoting? So now are you promoting your newsletter over your book? Like if you need people to do one action, if they read your tweet and they do one thing, is it follow your newsletter or is it buy your book or see my book? So sometimes having a newsletter and having to promote the newsletter takes precedent over your book. So it's a hit or minus, plus or minus. Plus, newsletters are higher intensity, meaning they need a visual, they need a header, they need copy, they need regular stats inside. Yeah. It takes a lot of time and effort. If you feel like you're going to do that regularly, let's say once a quarter, sure. And you do think like, oh, it's valuable if I reach 100 people, great. But yeah, it takes a little element of extra work.
Okay. And is the same thing about Medium? That was a question from Amy. The same basic idea?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All righty. And another question, Rebecca asked on Instagram, what's the difference between stories and regular posting, and when would you use each?
Yeah, stories are temporary. Stories only last 24 hours unless you save them within your highlights. So a story is more casual. The thing is that it does appear at the top of the feed. So if you post stories regularly, you're always going to be something that someone clicks on, which is great. But as mentioned, they're only 24 hours. They're only up there for 24 hours. A post will get to stay. It'll appear in your profile grid. People can scroll back and find it easier. So I recommend you use both. One, because you have a profile grid. You can actually share your profile grid of photos to stories to get some more eyeballs. You'll soon find in your insights that like some people look at your stuff in feed and a different audience actually looks at your posts and stories. So sometimes you're reaching two different subsets of your audience in both places. So I would definitely use both of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another question, blah, blah, blah. Scrolling with lots of good feedback on this. And Elp points out, don't forget to approach untraditional venues. I think that's a good point. Slow nights at restaurants and bars. Most are looking to bring in an audience. Tuesday night is dead virtually anywhere, so they're really happy to have you come in. Other questions. For post, here's a question from Jonathan Lees. Is your website a custom build from a designer or something like Squarespace or Wix? Any thoughts about why it works best for you?
Yeah, my website for Frights to Tell at Night is Squarespace, and it's honestly the base package. It's very basic. I just there's only a couple of elements that I use that I like slightly change, but no custom CS required. A lot of the visuals I Photoshop myself, so there is an element of a learning curve there if you need to Photoshop your images for like nice big visuals. But I use Squarespace because it's super easy. I know there are other elements out there that are free, but what you lose when you have a free site is usually the functionality is a little difficult. It's hard to manage. Sometimes it's not quite user friendly. Whereas sites like Wix, Squarespace are designed to be like blocks that plug and play and are super easy. But they are pricey. I think Squarespace is maybe $140 a year.
I'm excited. I think I'm going to pull the trigger finally.
Yay.
Oh,
If you need help.
Jonathan,
if you need help.
about time.
Already had the bodies, yeah.
I went with Wix only because it had more creative
Yes.
templates.
Yes. And then Wix to me has like so much more functionality. Like you can move things over up into the edges.
Yes, which
whereas
is why I haven't
Squarespace-
done much.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Ah.
an element of that. Like if you want to spend a lot of time super customizing, you can. Squarespace, I thought was plug and
I
play.
used a soap template that was really nice and very like hands-on, and not realizing further down I was selling soaps. They had soaps and I just left them there and then realized it kept on asking me for a credit card merchant so I could sell my soaps.
And you're like,
Yeah.
oops.
Well, all right. This is nice words that with which I completely agree. Jonathan also points out this was a more succinct and effective presentation than I've seen from marketing departments at multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
They're
Yes.
expensive.
Beautifully done.
Anastasia, would you consider
Thank
doing
you.
this
Well done.
another time?
Yeah, I actually had some other, like if folks are interested, I can also go deep on things like how to craft a query letter. Like I could spend 30 minutes just
Well,
talking about queries.
even something like this, Carol, on maybe our site or something.
Well, Anastasia has some plans for this presentation other places.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
Horror
that's-
University. It's like in
Yeah,
it's in
no,
the
that
works.
would be great. That would be awesome. That would be freaking.
Oh my God, you're going to
2
be
hours
over
of this. Oh
attended.
my gosh, yeah. And I agree with that. I was IBM marketing, and yeah, this is freaking